Shocking images from Baghdad, a massive show of force as an estimated 20,000 Shiite militiamen marched through the streets of the capital bearing weapons, including what looked like suicide vests. Their message, they'll fight to the death to keep the mostly Sunni forces of ISIS from taking Baghdad. Mike Giglio is the Middle East correspondent for BuzzFeed. He saw all of this unfold. He's joining us on the phone right now from Baghdad. So tell us what it was like, Mike. You were there. You saw this demonstration. Give us a little feeling for what was going on.
Thanks, Wolf. And yeah, it was really an amazing show of force. I was shocked by how many people were there. The AP estimated 20,000. It could have been much more than that. And almost all of them armed, some very heavily. I mean, you saw everything from pistols and AK-47s to RPGs and rad rockets mounted in the back of pickup trucks. And it was really a pretty impressive show of force, and I think a really loud message.
What does it say, Mike, about the situation in Iraq right now that a demonstration like this, these Shiite militiamen are marching through the streets of the capital, Baghdad?
It says that the Iraqi army really doesn't have control, and that the local population really doesn't have any faith in the Iraqi army's ability to defend them. So people are taking it upon themselves to take up arms and to send a message themselves to the militants in the north saying, we can defend ourselves if the government won't.
There was one really poignant picture, very dramatic, of some of these marchers. We're showing it right now, wearing what looked like suicide vests. Obviously, they were sending a message wearing these suicide vests. Were they real suicide vests or just sort of artificial?
I don't think they were rigged up to blow, and I'm not sure whether those were actual explosives or not. I mean, they breezed by pretty quickly. But I am pretty sure that that was a suicide battalion, and those people were marching in formation to send a message that, you know, when it comes time for this, we're ready to die for the cause here. ISIS
is really driving regular Iraqi army troops, security personnel, into desertion. They're just running away from these guys. Explain, because you've been there for a while, explain what's going on. Why is the Iraqi military simply crumbling?
You know, I think it's more deep-seated than we've really realized at this point. You know, I spoke to an Army captain who's from Fallujah, and ISIS took Fallujah in January. And he told me that the first thing that ISIS did when they took the town was to go door by door and threaten the families of anyone in Fallujah who was a member of the armed services or the police force. And this captain had taken his family immediately out of the city. But he was hiding here in Baghdad, and he thought that ISIS knew where he was even here. He told me that he thought that they had databases of everybody in the security forces and in the armed forces in the country, that they knew their movements, knew their ranks, knew their salaries, knew their families. And I ran that by some analysts and some politicians here, and they said that that's their understanding of ISIS capability as well, that they have infiltrated the state to that extent. And I think when that's going on, I mean, these people really have fear in their hearts as soon as they hear that they know that it's not just going to be a battle on the battlefield, that their families are in danger as well. And I think that they're really terrified.
Mike Giglio is the Middle East correspondent for BuzzFeed. Be careful over there. It's a rather dangerous situation, as we all know. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks, Will.